haven't spoken to you in probably a few weeks, and now you want to say every day I call you a fucking Jew hater. I haven't said 2 words to you. No, I don't. Seriously, just accept it, dumb. You gave me a 1.7.5. That's unfair, man. That's unfair. You gotta stop worrying about my approval. No, I need the numbers. I need validation from Caleb. Well, you'll be disappointed today, sorry. Okay, today is 10. Okay, you think how can I make it go down? You have no hope. Seriously, my last calls? Zach, what's my number according to you, Zach? Am I anti-Semite? Do I hate the Jews? What do you mean number? I missed that. What do you mean number? Caleb, at one point, I said how anti-Semite am I, from 1 to 10. At one point, he gave me 7.5. And the second time, he gave me 10. Third time was 10. And today, I'm asking him after 2 weeks. He's like, you're fixed. So, according to you, you're Jewish as well, right? According to you, am I a Jew hater? Yeah. I don't know. Do you hate the Jews? No, I don't. Do you think Jews control the world? No. Okay. Do you think that Israel is inherently less moral than any other nation? I mean, are you aware of the ongoing genocide in Darfur? I'm aware of the ongoing genocide. You heard about the white genocide that's going on in South Africa? Yeah, basically, I think that the fact that you're more focused on Israel than other nations of the world is a little hint of anti-Semitism. Yeah, but I'm not attacking the Jews, right? I'm talking about the genocide and attacking the Zionism, right? Even the title is about Zionism, right? So he doesn't say Jews in the title, does it? So in America, we have evangelical Christians that are Jews. We have Muslims that are Jews. We have Jews that are... evangelical Christians. That reveals his actual hatred. No, I haven't slept. That's why. You see, I'm mixing them. Maybe you should take a nap for baby. I will. Something's about to come up. I have to go. I just want to say another thing. One thing as well. I was not finished because he's just saying, hey, no. So, evangelical Christians, right? They're Zionists. You have Muslim Zionists. You have Jews that are Zionists. You have atheists that are Zionists. You have agnostics that are Zionists. And maybe tomorrow if I go to a store, maybe a cashier behind the counter, maybe he's a Zionist. I don't know. So all I'm saying is the Zionists, they come in all shapes and forms and whatnot. So that's what I'm against. Right. I just want to add to the Jews. Can I just add to that as well? I go through the Zionist groups and they literally just talk about Islam as a religion, directly. We don't scream Islamophobia. They just talk about the religion. It's not compatible with this. They just want to kill themselves to death. I hear it directly, right? If we wanted to attack the Jews and the Judaism as a religion, we would hear the word Judaism come up and we would just attack it. We're not afraid of saying, we're not mixing our words, we'll say what we're thinking. So when we say that we don't hate Jews, we mean it. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to pretend. I don't know who's keeping count, but that's the reality. We're talking about Zionism. That's the reality. So take what you want from it. Yeah, those guys got jobs by their agent, as they should. Yeah, they probably get another one. Yeah, but it's good that their agent dropped them. You can't say that shit on the stage at a festival. It's allowed according to their laws, isn't it? Freedoms. No, I think that's it's a call for violence. It's not protected.
Amir is known too much about like laws and the free.
I wouldn't call it violence. There are legitimate.
Wait, what's it called for violence? The popular song that's out. Back to the IDF. Back to the IDF. Back to the IDF. No.
You guys are so dishonest. You know, my thing is like.
Are we talking about
I really try to be honest and I try to be respectful. Sometimes I say things that are wrong. Yes, that's the song that we're talking about. But what I think is funny is that I at least make an effort to be honest, and I make an effort to be respectful. You guys don't even care about integrity at all. You don't care about honesty at all, and you don't make an effort to be respectful at all.
You've been playing the victim too long.
Yeah, sometimes I slip up. Sometimes I lose my patience after like an hour and a half of disrespect. I respond with one word. So you guys give me an hour and a half of disrespect, and then I say a rude word. Like I've heard Caleb lose his patience too. I don't know why you're talking right now while I'm talking. Why are you talking while I'm talking? 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 Why are you talking while I'm talking?
Has he never said that?
Why are you talking?
Can we do one mic? Let him land his plane, and then you can come off the mic Wednesday. Let's do 1% at a time. Sorry, go. And I'm actually defending Caleb, which I don't like. I don't know who cares about Caleb. Go on, finish what you're going to say, and then Wednesday's going to respond to.
Yeah, my point was that sometimes I lose my patience, and I'm not always perfectly respectful, but I at least make an effort. I really try when I'm calm to be respectful, and I try to only say things that are true. You guys don't really have an effort. You don't make an effort to say things that are only true. You have no problem lying, and you also have no problem being consistently disrespectful. And that's very disappointing.
Okay. All right, I think he's projecting. First of all, even if people were disrespectful to you, you don't have to be a racist. You can find other ways to disrespect somebody instead of resorting to racism. But maybe that is just you. That's a you thing. Maybe you're a racist. Maybe that's just who you are. There's been plenty of times that I've been disrespectful to people, and people have been disrespectful to me back. I don't resort to racism. That's just some low IQ shit. But that's who you are. Caleb has been disrespectful to me. I have been disrespectful to Caleb. Caleb has never called me the N-word. So I don't know why you're trying to compare yourself to Caleb. That's a little weird. That's a little strange. Oh, that's another thing as well, Zach. When you come into the Corpali space and you're like, this is how you guys treat us. This is what's happening with Palestinians, and the way you get treated in this space that has nothing to do. It's two separate subjects.
I hear you that you don't fully understand the point that I'm trying to make when I say that. I hear you that you don't really understand my point, but for you to then argue against it the way that you're doing without fully understanding my point, I do understand intellectually dishonest. So again, you're being dishonest because you're misrepresenting my point. So you can lie all you want, but I don't think that any God of Islam or Judaism or Christianity, I don't think that God approves of lying. All the religions at the very base, they say, be honest. So I don't know why you think lying is the ticket to winning an argument. You just make shit up.
Zach, let me ask you this. If I were to curse you out right now, if I curse the shit out of you, I curse your mother, whatever. Okay? Now, for you to come off the mic and say, this is what's happening to the Palestinians. You see the difference there? It doesn't make sense. I'm cursing you personally. No, it has nothing to do with Palestinians. It has nothing to do with Palestinians. You see what I'm saying? You can curse me back out, right? I don't mind. But I'm saying it has nothing to do with Palestinians. And then you come up the mic and say, this is what's happening to the Palestinians. they deserve it, and that's why they're a rebel. Why would you bring up the Palestinians when I'm cursing you out personally? It's between me and you. It has nothing to do with the Holocaust. It has nothing to do with the Palestinians. It has nothing to do with the genocide. It's between me and you. That's where I have a problem with some of these Zionists, right? They'll come up here, and then when we go back and forth on an argument or discussion, then when they lose or when they get triggered, they're like, yeah, this is why you have to do the Palestinians. This is why. Why are you bringing what's happening to Palestinians? Bro, it's sad.
Are you asking me a question? Because it sounds like you're asking me a question, but you're not.
No, I'm actually explaining.
Okay, so you're not asking a question.
It's a wrong thing to do. You see what I'm saying? It's wrong at so many levels. Just like what Aziz said.
I hear you. You don't like that argument.
It's not the argument. It's wrong. I'm cursing you out, right? I'll curse you out. Forget about my position, pro-Pali, pro-Israel, whatever. That has nothing to do with it. I'm cursing you out personally. And then you come off the mic, this is why what's happening with the Palestinians, they're under the rubble because you treat me wrong. Bro, my treatment, right, me treating you like shit has nothing to do with the Palestinians. That's where I have a problem with.
Yeah,
you gotta stop with that shit. You gotta stop with that shit, Zach.
Also, may I also add that he said that we're being disingenuous. Josh was telling us something about a guy who was saying something about AI, and it's like acceptable for a pedophile to use AI and do some nasty, disgusting thing. And I don't really believe you. I mean, I don't have to believe you, and it's just my opinion. I honestly think you were about to make a comparison with homosexuality and pedophilia. If I'm a betting woman, I'm not a betting woman, but I will put a lot of money on it and I'll probably win. But it's okay. You've doubled down on your lie, and that's fair enough. We've passed on, but I really hope you don't believe that pedophilia is a sexual orientation.
Well, it doesn't really matter what I believe because you're gonna lie about me and make shit up and misrepresent me no matter what I say. So it doesn't really matter what I actually believe because you're a liar. Because you're a liar.
Zach.
Can I finish?
No, I'm gonna go. Have fun.
And I think, okay, well, so what I was going to say is, can you hear me? Oh, anyway, what I was going to say is, it is no comparison to that because it's all about consent. Two gay men who are consenting to having sex with each other. Two lesbian women are consenting to have sex with each other. A child does not give consent, so it is not a sexual orientation.
You guys are so obsessed with sex. It's like insane.
Well, no. Caleb, what I don't understand is that you, on top of that as a rabbi, you on top of that as a father, didn't fix his little thing, spiel that he was about to say. At least help your little Jewish brother out.
I didn't know what he was trying to say because he was interrupted, so I didn't actually.
Oh, come on. We could have.
Wasn't.
We could.
Oh, come on, Wesley.
We all. Even
oh,
Jacob
come on, Wesley.
said.
Be a grown up.
Jacob said.
Come on, be a grown up.
Even Jacob said. Even Jacob said. Even Jacob said. When Jacob was talking about the AI.
Who's Jacob?
Discuss.
You mean Josh?
Sorry.
The irony is Zach interrupted with that statement. So.
Right.
You guys have no capacity. Zach is right. You guys have no capacity to just like.
No.
Sit.
Caleb,
No.
Do you?
No.
Caleb, do you think pedophilia is a sexual orientation, Caleb?
No, I don't.
All right, so shut the fuck up.
But like I said, like you guys take the bait on sex stuff and you bring up the sex stuff all the time. Right? You guys are obsessed. You guys are obsessed. Obsessed with sex. Kind of. The issue here is. Oh yes, tell me what the issue is. Yes. Yes. Tell me what the issue is. Village to village. I don't know. Go village to village and tell me what the issue is. When he was talking to Aziz, he actually mentioned sending, I don't know, message to Aziz that I'm not going to send a message to Aziz along the lines of that come and suck my dick, or or I'm going to come and suck your dick. He's the one that brought up this dick thing, and I was in a shock. Why do you? And you can ask Aziz very easy. And I was in a shock that he gets trolled, right, about his experience with a transsexual, whatever, transgender. And then here you are, you're bringing up the dick thing again, and people are going to start trolling you. And, when people troll you, you get butthurt and you start using racial slurs. And I told him earlier on as well, if I curse you out personally, if I call you motherfucker or piece of shit, call me a motherfucker, right? Why do you have to stoop down to that level with the N-word? He did it in JB's room. He has done it in a whole bunch of, even Unnormal. Like the piece of shit Unnormal is, he kicks him down. You see what I'm saying? And I have kicked him down multiple times and do not use the N-word. Like, why do you have to stoop down? Let me ask you a question. You want this room to be about, if you want this room to be about substance and content and talking about the issues and all your ways that you want to delegitimize the Israeli state, Zionist entity, as you say, why on earth would you continue to take the bait every time and to bring it up unwarranted, unprovoked every time? Oh, shucks. You guys trolled Zach on his sex story. He shouldn't have shared that with anybody. That was his mistake. But why do you bring it up all the time? It's because you guys are sex-starved incels who have no real ability to have a real conversation. Have a conversation.
You get this from?
Because you guys bring up homosexual. You brought it up. We didn't bring it up. So you know what you do, Amir? You say this isn't the topic of the room, and we're moving on. Be a good mod. Don't be a dick.
We try to stay on top.
No, guys, you all are so stupid. You all are so. I gave him advice, kind of in front of me. I said, do not bring up the dick thing. Yeah. So then you move the conversation forward and you stop talking. And look, you're still talking about it. You can't help yourselves.
But Caleb, so you're allowed to talk about it and we can't? And then you're not sick.
I never bring that shit up. You guys are the ones who bring that shit up. I never do. That's not the topic of the room. The room is about how Amir hates Jews and Amir hates Israel. That's what the topic of the room is about. You want to talk about that? You don't have to bring up homosexuality or sexual issues.
Right. Well, you need to tell Zach that, because Zach.
I don't have to tell anybody anything, you fucking moron.
Well, you do, because he used the whole.
Well, you do. Why don't you go back to your South London shanty and fucking just be a moron down there?
I'll do that, and then what you'll do is you'll be a rabbi that does homosexual weddings, right? Against Hashem's will. That's what you'll do. Yeah. You'll do that.
I think Hashem wants. I think Hashem wants people that.
I think it's an abomination. Yeah, that's what you're going to do, Rabbi.
I think your opinion about.
What the fuck you're going to do?
Your opinion about how.
Rabbi. Fuck you.
Your opinion about how.
Fucking idiot.
Your opinion about how I engage as a rabbi professional is none of your goddamn business.
You go and make weddings out of abominations. That's according to your scripture. You go and do that, Rabbi.
The scripture does not say that weddings are about.
Put some respect on my name. I'm trying to respect you, Caleb. And you may.
No, you're not.
I'm trying.
No, you're not trying to respect me in one bit.
I stayed quiet.
You are an imbecile.
We're South London. I stayed quiet.
I'm just telling the truth.
I don't think.
Aziz, you are so stupid. You can't form any sentences in English.
I think you're an imbecile, Caleb. You do gay.
Great. So we're even then. I know much more about Hashem than you do, and I don't say, hey, Aziz, let's clear this up right now. Aziz, let's clear this up right now. Aziz, shut the fuck up for 1 second. I couldn't give two shits about what you
Don't
think.
Don't disrespect me.
I'll disrespect you whenever the fuck I want. You are disrespectful. You earn the disrespect.
I think
Great.
you.
I think the same thing about you.
I don't think you.
I think the same thing about you. Aziz,
Your religion, right? But I keep that to myself.
Aziz,
right?
I have forgotten more about
you.
Aziz.
Keep it in my pocket. Keep yours.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Your criticism in your pocket.
Don't tell my husband to shut up.
Keep your criticism in your pocket. Do you understand? And I'll keep mine in mind. Because if I start speaking about you, you won't like it, right? It's gonna hit different. I'm not even in gear 2 yet. I'm being nice. So just remember.
Aziz.
Don't just fling it.
Aziz, I want you to Aziz, I want you to recall when I defended you against Norm after you were being so idiotic. Right? No, you have not. No, you have not. And Aziz, I want you to stop talking now so I can get one sentence out. Please let me get one sentence out. Okay? Let's come to an understanding. You say nothing about my work as a rabbi, and I'll consider giving you more respect. But my work as a rabbi and my understanding of Jewish tradition is none of your fucking business. And I don't take advice from non-Jews. Shh.
Why are you
Aziz, hold you.
Why does he talk like
Aziz,
Why do you talk to me as if you are their fucking father, bro?
Aziz, I would like to be able the same way that Zach gets frustrated when you interrupted him when I finished a sentence. That's the same with me. So Aziz, shut your mouth and let me finish your fucking sentence.
You get frustrated all the fucking time, bro.
Keep it simple.
You get frustrated all the time because you got this thing, this ego about you as if
I'm talking to Aziz. Shut up.
Your mother's a bitch.
Like I said, keep it simple. Don't speak on me personally.
Your mother's a bitch.
Okay, I am keeping it simple when I'm not speaking on you personally. So shut up so you can listen.
You call me all kind of words. I keep on.
Shut up so you can listen.
I'm trying to
shut up so you can listen. Shut up so you can listen. Aziz, are you gonna allow me? Aziz, are you gonna allow me to finish a sentence? Aziz, are you gonna allow me to finish a thought?
Let's do one person at a time.
Are you gonna allow me to fucking finish a thought?
Okay, go and finish, Connor, and then Aziz will respond. Let's do one person. Hang on. Go on, Kevin.
For fuck's sake, Aziz, get some goddamn patience. If you stop talking to me about my life and work as a rabbi, that would be great. It is not relevant to any of the conversations we have here about Israel-Palestine. It is not relevant to any conversations we have about anything. It's just irrelevant. So why don't you leave it out? And I don't take advice or counsel from non-Jews about how to be Jewish anyway. So why don't you just, hush up on that stuff? Because it's not relevant to the conversation.
Right. And in future, I'll make sure you just stick to the topic before this attacking me personally. Because even in this room, you call me an imbecile, I'll stay quiet. I'll stay quiet. And it's only when you continue to attack me, you went personal, talking about this South London, they do already this and that. You don't know anything about me. And I know stuff about you, and I keep it in my back pocket.
You don't know anything about me, Aziz. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. What do you think you know about me? What do you think you know about me?
You're not giving me. Be quiet.
What do you think you know about me?
Why would you call him an imbecile?
What do you think you know about me?
Give me the respect I gave you.
No. What do you think you know about me?
I told him to mute up, right? So
what do you think you know about me?
You can ask him later. Go on, Aziz.
What do you think you know about me?
Just let him finish. Come on.
Like the way you don't take counsel from non-Jews, I don't take counsel from Jews. So just be quiet for a second and let me finish. We're going to keep the same energy in both directions. Understand? So in future, don't discuss me personally. Stick to the topic. The same way I was reluctant to discuss you personally, even though you mentioned me personally as you used a slur. I said, okay, cool. Then you double down on it, and then I attacked. Okay? And I know stuff about you. I keep it in my back pocket the same way.
What do you know about me? What do you know?
I don't want to do that, Caleb.
What do you think you know?
I don't want to do that, Caleb. It's not necessary.
What do you think you know? Give me a category.
You know what?
You don't even have to say the particular thing. What do you think you know? What do you think you know? What do you think you know?
Caleb, I give you more.
What do you think you know?
You deserve. So
what do you think you know? What do you think you know? You're right. Finally, you're right. For once in your life, it's irrelevant. You're right. So there's no point in saying. So there's no point in saying. So there's no point in saying I know something about you, but I'm going to keep it quiet. So you don't even have to mention that at all.
Something about it. You sound like.
What do you think you know about him?
Now you can't. Exactly.
I wouldn't bring it up anyway. I don't bring up anything personal about people on this app.
It's
Unless they
irrelevant.
mention it themselves.
If there's nothing to hide, why would you care?
I have nothing to hide.
All right, so then
I'm wondering
irrelevant.
what he thinks he knows about.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
You're right. It is irrelevant. So it doesn't even. You're right. It's irrelevant. So it's not.
I wouldn't bring
You
it up.
should have to answer the
I
question.
wouldn't bring it up.
You don't even have to bring up. You don't even have to bring it up in this passive aggressive way. Oh, I know something about you.
I'm just letting
He wasn't.
Oh, I know something about you.
Why do you hear say what you want, but you don't tell him how to talk? You hear talk about
I know something about you.
It's how you handle your. It's you don't talk.
Look, this is what I understood, right? The deal is, Caliph, you don't attack Aziz personally, and he doesn't attack your belief system or what you believe in. Okay. Yeah, wonderful. I can defend him. I don't give a shit what he thinks about what I believe, how I practice. It makes no difference. But he's a young brother. You're probably like 40, 50 in your Zionist spaces. Tell him to let him speak or something. And if Aziz could form a coherent sentence, it would be easier.
Well, I think the same about you, Kayla. So, you know exactly profile.
Backlash. Are you fucking stupid, bro? I would have cursed you out a long time ago. He got more patience than me.
Do you know what I mean? Even like the little sly digs, like Kayla, I'm just not emotional like you, so I don't respond. But I can feel the passive aggression every time you address me. But I keep it to myself. Because I know how to act as a man, If it was you, you wouldn't be able to contain yourself. Because an emotion start kicking in. So that's what I'm saying. Just keep that energy, keep it in your pocket. And if you want rebuttals, don't come for me. That's just what it is.
Hey, look, I have
Stick
a
to the topic.
back. Would you like it? You want to use one?
Anyways, we got Ramon here. Ramon, did you want to say something? Is it Raymond or Ramon?
No, it was right the first time, but what's going on? Yeah, I was coming over to hear a good conversation, man. I didn't think it was gonna be a Zionist on stage going off, stressing people out. But what's the conversation about? I've been paying attention to I guess what you would call religious Jews and their protests against what's happening over in Israel. This isn't a new thing. They've been doing this for years. There's a whole documentary, where I had to check myself and understand the difference between Jews like Caleb and ones who truly are seeking after God and trying to live righteously. I was shocked to hear some of these Jews over there actually standing and protesting against Zionism and getting assaulted by their own quote-unquote people. So, this is an interesting conversation today, man.
We're at the protest, and even on this ticket, I don't know, they put a title over their head. Caleb, do you call the sister Izzy like a self-hating Jew? Caleb? No, I don't think she's a self-hating Jew. I think she's misguided. I think she actually doesn't live in spaces that are connected to the broader mainstream Jewish community. I think she's cut off, actually. I think she displays herself as some kind of expert in the broad Jewish community. She just isn't. It's obvious, to me at least, when she speaks, that she really has no good knowledge about the breadth of Jewish thought, Jewish ideas. I'm talking sociologically here. I'm not talking about religious ideas. That she's quite knowledgeable. But I just think I don't think she hates herself because she's a Jew. I don't even know if she hates herself, but I think she's doing damage. She's doing damage. I think she's doing damage to the body politic of the Jewish community.
Because she's against Zionism?
No, because of the way she is against Zionism. The way she is against Zionism. If you listen to her carefully, right, mostly for her about white supremacy and that she thinks Zionism is white supremacist. Kind of.
Is it not?
No. If you interrupt, then this conversation's going to go off the rails real quick. I was asking an opinion question, and I'm giving my response.
You're not against
I'm not responding to her. I'm not responding to her claim. I'm just describing her claim, right? And if you listen carefully, because she thinks that, right, that Zionism is some kind of like white supremacy, right? That's really her whole thing. She doesn't really care, right? If she was somebody else, not Jewish, right? She wouldn't care about Zionism in the ways that she does. She would just care about white supremacy. That's her big umbrella of all of this. So, which is good. We should fight white supremacy. Since Zionism is white supremacy.
So, another question for you, kind of. So, when we look at the Black Jewish people inside Israel, right, and we see a lot of videos how they get discriminated against, a lot of the European Ashkenazi Jewish people, and how they discriminate against the Black Jews. What do we make out of that, or how do we deal with it? I mean, that does, show that this white supremacy exists inside Israel. Does it not?
There's racism in Israel, like there's racism in every other society, planet. I wouldn't call it white supremacy necessarily, or even explicitly. It's racism.
I don't like this guy's a fucking.
So if the people have converted to Judaism, right, and they call themselves Ashkenazi, and they were white before, right, they converted to Ashkenazi, they would still be white, right? Or they would be just Jews.
What is white identity?
No, I'm just asking you. So let's say it's a white person that converts to Judaism, right, and moves to Israel. Can he call himself a white, or he just goes with the identity called Jew, like that he's just a Jew? He's no longer.
That's not how. This is such an American framework of thinking, right?
It's a question.
I understand, and I'm answering the question. That's not really how race doesn't function that way in Israel in terms of like kinds of Western colorisms that Europe and America is. It's just not the way that it functions, right? Most of the racism is towards not black people, right, but like non-Ashkenazi Jews, right, which has a lot to do with like culture and less to do with color, right? It has to do with they were from those kinds of other countries and we were from the Atlantic West, right? And so the racism is different. Right, so I think you're seeing it very differently. Your question, like the premises of your question don't make any sense, right? If somebody converts to Judaism, then they're Jewish. Who cares about what they're called?
So the reason why I brought this up because when
you're stating
when I made it clear about how white people are being racist to the black Jews. So if somebody from white community converts to Judaism and he's being racist inside Israel towards a black Jew, he's white supremacy. There's white supremacy there.
There's a range between racism and white supremacy. White supremacy has to do with institutional control, societal power and pressure, right? Racism, if you're talking about just like people are bigots and people discriminate, that's not the same as white supremacy.
Well, you just described Zionism.
Exactly. That's why I'm just laughing at.
Yeah, that's what Zionism actually is.
Zionism is the movement for all the Jews.
Okay, so when the Zionists go over to places in Africa and they find people who have been claiming to be Israelites for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they tell them, hey, you're an Israelite, but do you want to become a Jew? What do they mean by that? Okay, look, what do they mean? You're an Israelite, but do you want to become a Jew?
What they mean is that we have a legal system. And what they mean is if that is part of what your identity tells you and what your cultural history and traditions tell you, would you like to join the actual Jewish people?
Yeah, and that's the problem, is because when you say the actual Jewish people, you're implying that the people that you're speaking to are not actually Jewish. Now, why would you imply they're not actually Jewish? Is it because their skin color, is because they haven't done your legal?
No, it's the legal thing.
Right. So what you're saying is these people who've had their traditions much longer than you, this legality of what it means to be a Jew, and you tell them, hey, this is what a true Jew is what you're.
No, nobody's compelled to convert. The question is if you want to join yourself with the most traditional attested to, historically attested to, descendants of Israelites and descendants of historically attested to communities, then that's the mainstream Jewish community today. I'm sorry, it's not the Hebrews.
Yeah, that's very untrue. Actually, it's very likely that you are not descendants from Jacob at all. And it's when you talk about the longest lasting generations.
I didn't say descendant from Jacob. I said descendant from historically attested to Jewish communities.
No, you said Israel. You said Israel.
I said
Jacob.
I said historically attested to Jewish communities.
But you said descended from.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? What I said.
Hold on, brother. You said descended from. So who did they descend from?
Historically attested to Jewish communities.
Well, who's the first historically attested to Jew in history?
Well, that's a historical question that scholars would debate.
Well, you just brought up history, so let's talk it. I actually study history, so let's talk it. Who was the first attested Jew, as you understand a Jew today? Who was the first attested Jew in history?
I mean, I don't think there was probably one. There was a community of people who were identified, who self-identified in such a way, and then who were identified from the outside. Excuse me. Clearly the Israelite communities of the Bible during the Assyrian and Babylonian exiles, they were identified as unique set of people, right? I don't know. They weren't called Jews then, right? They were clearly identified with a practice and a culture and a religion and a land and a God.
Okay, got you. Now I agree with that. So you had the tribes that were initially up north that went into the Assyrian captivity, correct?
That was in 722.
Okay, so they dispersed and went to all these different places in what we call the Middle East now in Africa. Now the Jews were the southern kingdom, where you had 2.5 tribes who went behind the northern tribes and did more evil than they did. And in 70 AD, their place was destroyed, right?
Why are you telling me history that I already know?
Well, because I'm trying to make sure we understand what we're referring to as Jews, and we're not just saying that some people come along and adopt a name or a tradition, and then they go and point the finger at people who are actually descending from those people and say, hey, if you want to be a real Jew, you got to come over and do what we did. So what I'm trying to get to
Hold on.
No, let me finish.
Just one second. One second. I just want to. It's 1 second. It's not about being a real Jew. It's about, do you want
But you said that.
No, it's not.
You said that if you want to be a true Jew, what is a true Jew?
It's not what I said. I don't use my.
It is what you said. You said if they want to be a true Jew, there's a legal. Oh my God.
That's not what I said.
I listen very well. So let's go back. The Africans in Africa who are claiming descendancy from Jacob for thousands of years, when the Jews go over and tell them, do you want to become a Jew or do you want to remain an ancient Israelite? What do they mean?
They mean that most people, when they say they are descendants of Israelites, the conventional understanding of that means Jewish. Now, there's a mainstream Jewish community. There's a lot of Jewish community. It's a very thick culture that's been developed over thousands of years. And some descendants of Israelites were cut off from those centers of Jewish life. So, do you want to be a part of that, or do you not want to be a part of that? If you do, there's a way to do it. If you don't, fine. Be happy with the life you already have. No problem. But you cannot wake up one morning and say, we are these people, right? With no real evidence.
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
Just saying, we are these people. What are you talking about? Like I said, historically attested to communities. When other people say and point to a group over there and say they're the Jews, not we say, right? But they say, then you can be pretty sure that those people are actually Jews.
Okay, so these people were being attested to as Jews long before your people
Jews, not as Jews, as Israelites, by other people.
Okay,
They were attested to by other people.
Bro.
Hey, Jude,
Like, you gotta chill.
cutting him off, please. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
No, but you're not tracking the salient points of what I'm saying.
No, you're not tracking what I'm saying.
Other people have to say, see that community over there? They're the
Oh my God.
I can't help if you're so stupid and you can't understand.
Well, it ain't got nothing to do with hold up. Lindsay, I got it. It ain't got nothing to do with being stupid, brother. Like, and this is what I think the brother was saying. Like, when you guys can't answer questions or you're being pressed a little bit, you start with the ad-homs and insults, right? We see it all the time. That's what Jews do. But my point is this. You personally, let's talk about you personally. Can you trace your lineage back to any identifiable Hebrew or Jew?
No, nobody can do that. Not a single person on the planet can do that.
Okay, so one day you were born into a Jewish family?
Yep.
Okay, now how did they become Jews?
As far as we know from the research that we've been doing on family history and things like that, they've been Jews for hundreds and hundreds of years. I don't know that there was a starting point.
Well, easiest isn't that hard.
I know, but the easiest assumption is that they were just always Jews.
Okay, but hundreds and hundreds of years, you know how old the Earth is and how old humanity is, civilization?
Yes,
Hundreds and hundreds of years is a drop in the bucket of history. So, and I might agree with you that these people have only been claiming to be Jews for hundreds of years, right? And we can actually go and trace.
I don't understand the question. I don't understand when you ask when did they start being Jewish. Like, I don't understand it. Like, because you stop beating your wife.
Because there's a clear starting point for your people when they started identifying as Jewish people. And if you know your history, you should be able to, because you guys argue and you're trying to convince other people to become like you, but you don't even know how you got like you are.
I'm not interested in convincing anybody else to be Jewish unless they come to me and say, I'm very interested.
I'm actually a Jew. I'm actually from the tribe of Judah.
Well, from the tribe of Judah and being a Jew are different things.
Well, okay, all right, hold on. Where did the term Jew come from, Caleb?
Jew derives from the tribe of Judah, and other people call us. Other people call us that. We never refer to ourselves. We always refer to ourselves as the people of Israel, or the children of Jacob.
Oh, so you never referred to yourself as a Jew?
We did. No, we did not.
Oh, okay. So before, let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. Prior to 1940.
You jump around again. So wait. So hold on a second. Let's just.
I'm not telling you to stop right here.
Let's investigate your claim. How do you know you're from the tribe of Judah?
Oral tradition and DNA.
DNA can't prove you're from the tribe of Judah.
I said oral tradition and DNA.
DNA cannot prove what tribe you come from.
Okay, then I have more evidence than you do because all you have is a rumor. I have oral tradition going back. Many of my family members attest to this, and DNA shows that my people are from there. So you're saying DNA? You're saying from Israel?
From where?
From Israel. And it shows where they migrated, shows where they got on the boats, where they got off the boats. I got names. Like I don't see. You see, my answer to you is actually based off of evidence and research, and yours is just like, well, people just said we worked for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
that would be okay.
Because you understand the rules of the Jewish community, right? About defining who is and who is not a Jew. Have nothing to do with DNA. They never have. It has nothing to do.
Right? Of course, y'all don't want it to do with DNA because your DNA will prove you wrong. Of course, y'all don't want it to have any to do with you.
It's not because of that. It's because in a life of exile for thousands of years, and you want to track family connections, right? What's important is where the kids are, what parents are they with, right? And in a world, right, where there's mixing, and in a world where there's rape, and in a world where there's family separation, there needs to be a strategy to maintain and have the community stay together, right? So, and this is like in times when DNA, nobody had DNA, right? So in times of Eve, long before anybody was researching DNA, right? Hundreds and thousands of years before that, Judaism developed a strategy to make sure that the community can stay together and not just fizzle away, right? And one of those things has to do with how we count who is Jewish and who is not. And DNA is not a fact. DNA can play a part in contemporary times, but if you want to be part of the Jewish community, DNA is not enough. You have to develop a family tree. You have to have things like you said, which is family histories, oral traditions, some kinds of other kinds of evidences. That is, unless you're just born to a Jewish mother, you're in. It's like George Ray says.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I think that's somewhat of a fallacy because if we choose to, and just to be transparent, this is what I think happened, Caleb. I don't want you to think that I'm being tricked, trying to trick you at all. I believe that your people were not they weren't Hebrew at all, right? And they converted to this religion. And actually put a bad name on the religion. A lot of things that came after, I think it was around the 5th or 6th century, with the Ashkenazis coming down from the Caucasus Mountains, taking on the identity of Jewish people. And then they went about and started spreading, their barbarism that they, were practicing in Khazaria, and got kicked out of pretty much every country. Now, I don't remember them ever going into slavery necessarily. Like, I don't remember them being in captivity as a prophet.
Really, the Roman slave markets?
No. Listen, this is what I'm saying. Your people that you're talking about,
you're Hebrew Israelite. You consider yourself?
No, I don't call myself a Hebrew Israelite. I don't identify